Hey, this is Gary with Junk Removal, and I have a guest on. His name's Chris Benson with Vets Hall Junk, North Carolina style. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, Gary, thanks for having me. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure having you. I want to see why you got into junk and what's your story, and just fill us in, man.
So yeah, Joe's a good mentor for everybody to have, for me and for anybody else in the junk removal space. I know he mentors a lot of you guys, and
Yeah,
we talk to him all the time. I could call him every day if I need to. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
now, so I got into it. I used to cut grass when I got out of the military. I think it was 2018. I got out of active duty, and I went to a reserve unit. And I just needed a job in the meantime between drill and all. So I just started cutting yards and stuff. And I had a lady that her husband had passed away and she didn't have any kids at home or nothing like that to help her. And she asked if I could get a couch out of her second floor. She had an attic upstairs. Needed to get rid of the couch to free up some space. I guess she was selling the house or something.
mhm,
Um, and she needed help getting the couch downstairs. And I just cut grass by myself. I didn't have any employees or anything like that. And she just said, if you can do it, just let me know and how much and all that. And next time you come cut the grass next week or something, just let me know and remove it. And it's like, okay. So I went and just started looking on Google and all that stuff of, what do I charge to get rid of a couch and how do I get rid of a couch. And I just looked up the transfer station in town, and um, the charge was really small to get rid of it and everything. And I don't know. I just told her, hey, I have my brother will come with me or something, and then we'll remove it. I probably couldn't have done it myself. It was a pretty big
sure.
couch upstairs, and my brother came with me the next week to cut the grass. And about 10 minutes later, it only took about 10 minutes to get the couch down, and she gave me $100. And I was like, wow, I only charge about, I think it was $40 a week or something to cut her grass, and God, that took me sometimes about an hour, between 45 minutes and an hour, to cut her
Yeah,
yard and mowing and blowing and
sure.
trimming and all that stuff. Um, and I was like, man, $100 in 10 minutes. I came across Joseph. It's been a few years now since I started with Vets Hall Junk, but he had just started making like YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Yep.
And he mentioned that he was looking for partners to grow his business. And he only had a few videos at the time. I think he's got a couple hundred now, but and I was like, man, he's a veteran too. And I reached out, I gave him a call and just talked to him. And we were both infantry in the army. We'd both been to the same part of Afghanistan. And we just clicked on different things. Like we knew, different people in the military and stuff. And our stories were really similar and stuff like that. And I just grew to like Joe. And then um, maybe at the time, he was bringing on another Vets Hall junk location, John in Norfolk. So he needed time, to try to help him out and stuff like that. About a month after that, he called me up and we, came up to the conclusion that I was going to be another local owner here in North Carolina. Um, I'm in the northern Charlotte area. I don't know if you're familiar with Charlotte, North Carolina, but
Are you in Moreland? Is it?
yeah,
Is it
the area is called Lake Norman.
right?
It's a lake that's north of Charlotte, and there's a lot of little towns around it. Statesville, Mooresville, a
Yep.
couple different
That's it.
towns
Yeah.
north of Charlotte. So yeah, so I talked with Joseph, and we found out, due to market research stuff like that. I suggest everybody does that. Just find out if the area you live in, has the income and the capacity to take on, to where you can make a substantial living. You know what I mean? Like grow an actual business.
Yeah, let
Um,
me interject here real quick, and then
yeah.
you go there. And what you're saying is the very
Mhm.
reason I'm in Tucson, Arizona,
Okay.
because where I was in Florida, there was no way that I was making a living.
Right.
I had to supplement, and I did everything I could, and it just wouldn't hold a person like me making. And I want to make a living. I don't want to make just a job. I want to a
Right.
business. And so I had to do exactly what you're talking about. Okay, where do I want to live? Number one, is this possible somewhere else? And then you start looking at demographics. How many businesses are in there? Can it take another junk removal company? And although that for someone like me, that doesn't stop me. That just makes me, I already know I can compete with just anybody. I don't care if there's 30. I can do that. But what you said just now is so important. You got to count the cost. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's exactly what I did, is what you're talking about, taking that due diligence and saying, where's this going to be flourishing?
Market research is huge. And what I was looking at is and Joseph didn't want to just bring on anybody. He wants to bring on someone that can provide value to Vets Haul Junk as an organization as we grow. But I didn't want to fail him. So I wanted to do my research as far as, you got to know if the place can even support you or not. You don't want to make the brand look bad, like an unsuccessful location or something like that. So we found out, there's all the bigger companies, in the area operate around too. So usually if you see those bigger name companies, right, you can pretty much, there's a space for you. If they're not going to go wherever, they only go towards, markets that are profitable. But anyway, I wanted to know could I make a decent living around everyone else and get rid of lawn mowing, just cutting yards here and there. Yeah. And I found out, even with talking with Joseph, he was very understanding. This is the business I have. I'm trying to go towards your business. I basically came in kind of part-time. I came in kind of part-time. I cut some grass here and there, and then I pick up some junk here and there. Sometimes I do it the same day. And sure, like I'd show up to cut a yard, and there would be like a lot. Hey, buddy. Sorry about that. My kids are coming here from school.
We all, that's the beautiful thing, real quick. We all, unless you got trucks and trucks and trucks, most of us work out of our homes.
Right.
Our families are around us 24/7. And that's the beauty of it. That's why we go into it, so we can have them around us. It's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So when I started my business, my wife is a nurse and she's really busy all the time. You know what I mean? She works long hours and manages a lot of different people and stuff. But my idea wasn't really to make a living for them. You know what I mean? It was kind of to build a future for all of us, to have that additional income so we can go on vacations and do all the different, my kids love to ride dirt bikes and stuff like that. And that's really expensive. And this business helps offset these additional costs. My wife can take care of, day-to-day expenses of, food and shelter and stuff like that. But I needed to know, what can I do, cutting grass or hauling junk or whatever to boost us to that next level, to have that, I don't know what you would call it, but just it makes your quality of life a little better, having extra money to be able to go do things instead of just living day to day. And my family and I appreciate that, so. Yeah. And that's what I found in junk removal. And man, it kicked off quick. It went from maybe the first 3 months of doing it and just building on everything Joe was teaching me and all this stuff. And he kept making these awesome ads and all this stuff. And next thing you knew, I was getting so many junk hauling jobs and calls that I was having to start canceling my lawn customers. I could not keep up with junk removal and cutting yards because it would take me multiple hours to take care of my junk removal clients. My lawn clients. And then I'd have to tell my junk clients, hey, I got to finish up these scheduled mowings and then I'll come get your stuff. And sometimes I'd be working till later in the evening. I'd be starting to get dark doing junk removal. And I was like, if I can get to the point to where I can make a certain amount of money per week, I can quit this lawn care altogether. So I'd go to my farther out cities and stuff, and I'd start telling those customers, hey, it's not really working out anymore. I can't get to you. I have these different obligations. Yeah. And it got to the point where I was handing out my junk removal business cards to my lawn clients. And some of them understood I didn't cut their grass anymore, but they still call me to this day, 3 years later, sure, for junk hauling. They understand I don't do lawns anymore, but I do junk hauling.
You're doing landscaping and all of a sudden you're looking at the potential because it's way different and you're not set, on a time, it's a lot more forgiving and it's not nearly as temperamental with the weather, all of that kind of stuff. So how did you start? Did you start with just your landscaping trailer, and how have you progressed along the way?
Well, no, when I started, I had I don't know if you ever saw I don't have it anymore. I just got rid of it a few months ago. The Dodge 1500, this is the smaller wrapped truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Wrapped
so
up.
that used to be, before it was wrapped, it was just white and I had door magnets for my lawn mowing service. I didn't have a trailer or nothing. I had a push mower and a blower and a weed eater, you know?
Wow.
Um, yeah, so that's all I did was just mowed like small yards. The yards in the area I was in, they're not very big yards, just quarter
What we
acre or
call
less,
postage stamp yards. So yeah.
The little small ones, and I'd have two or three on each street, and I'd just knock them out, spend a couple hours, and leave, But no, when I started junk removal, God, I remember I did two or three jobs. I had to rent a U-Haul trailer to pull behind my truck because the job was bigger than I thought. It started out like pickup truckload type stuff, like maybe a refrigerator or a couch or, single item type stuff or just small little jobs. But then as my name started to get out, I started having to rent like a U-Haul van or a trailer or something.
Yep.
But it didn't take long till I could afford a uh, double axle 14-foot trailer, and that's how I like really started to launch. Because then I could haul a pretty good bit of junk. There's a lot of building going on in my area, so I kept getting these construction debris type hauling,
Yep.
deck wood and sheds and stuff, stuff like that. And I was like, man, this ain't the right trailer. Everybody with the dump, was laughing. Basically, I'm having to unload these trucks. I said, the moment I have the money and I can afford to get a dump trailer, I'm gonna do it right then. So I kept talking to the dump trailer provider and trying to make sure the prices and stuff. And I said, all right, as soon as I get that money, I'm gonna go get it. And I remember the very day I got it. The night before, I stayed up till like 10 o'clock at night removing someone's hot tub and this big deck. It ended up being a 6,000-pound load. And yeah. So the following morning, me and a buddy of mine, it took us at least an hour at the dump to unload this trailer.
Yep.
And I said, I'm going right now to get this dump trailer. And I got that dump trailer and I never looked back. And then that dump trailer bought me another dump trailer. And then that dump trailer bought me I don't know if you've seen the roll-off system I have now. I kept upgrading,
Well, I've seen it, and we actually, I don't know, we've gone back and forth because the whole idea is you can land that thing because I think there was somebody making a post, what do you want a trailer because they're lower, and you mentioned, yeah, I can just drop it completely on the ground, and it's a half step to get into the bin. And
exactly.
It's like,
it's a no-brainer, and when everybody sees what's sitting in my driveway right now, it hasn't been disclosed to the public yet, but there's a big boy toy sitting outside right now that's going to make life even more better for us this year. So
when do we get to see it?
Hint, it's wrapped right now.
Oh, amen to that. I think I know what it is. So
it's pretty close to being done, but I think we're at the level. We're going into year 4 now. I've got the volume. Last year, it was all we could do with my roll-off trailer plus my dump trailer. So we had 2 trucks and 2 dump trailers going with dumpsters and all. And it was all we could do to keep up with the flow. So we moved on to bigger and better things. And about a month from now, everybody will get to see that. So that's I think it's going to be
just in time for the peak season, right?
It'll be right about mid-March. We'll launch it.
I'm technically in my second. I'm just finishing at the end of this month. I'll be 1 year. Okay. And so this is one of the reasons I do these interviews is to absolutely inspire people who are thinking about it. Number 2 is absolutely help people understand the cost of doing business, because it isn't as simple as, buying a trailer and doing that. That works for about 6 months, and then real life things come in, repairs, insurance. Yes. There's a time that you can live a little dangerous, and then there's a time where you have to start buttoning up and acting like a real soldier in the world of junk, right? And so that's one of those are the big reasons why I like doing these interviews, because when I get to see people in their fourth, or in Joseph's case, 6.5 years into it, they can see, oh, look at this. He's got this, because his truck is magnificent. And this guy's got 3 trailers, or this guy's got this. When they hear your stories, it didn't just happen. There's a lot of work involved in it, and it takes time. You're not hitting the lotto, man. You're building a business. You're building something. You're not building a job. You're building a business. It's really different, isn't it?
Well, we're Vets Haul Junk. We're building a brand. You know what I mean?
That's so. All right, Joseph.
Well, no,
but he's right. He's right.
We wholeheartedly believe that. Like, we're not just your regular company, just that doing this. You know what I mean? We just so happen to haul junk, but that's not our main focus. You know what I mean? We're definitely building out this brand. I'm sure you've heard about.
Absolutely.
But we're in the beginning phases of that. I would encourage people to set back a significant amount of earnings. Yes, you can make a lot of money per day in junk removal and stuff like that, but I wish people would not think so much about
easy money.
They get too caught up on the easy money and how much actual money they're making every day, and they don't put anything away to grow their business in the future. Right. And grow it to that brand level and get it recognized nationally, and have people like yourself and other people that reach out. I don't get near as many calls as Joseph does, because he is like really good with videos and speaking and stuff like that. But between us, we get a lot of calls from people starting up, stuff like that, wanting advice of how we did it and what we do and all that. And a lot of it I learned from Joseph. I learned myself a lot, but I had to learn the hard way a lot. But Joe is a good resource for anybody to have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But, and there's others. But
there's a brotherhood. There's always going to be those guys that are just really difficult, but they're far and few between. Most of us are willing to learn. Most of us are willing to share our experiences and help those people. When I was in landscaping, for instance, and I've shared this before too, but before I left landscaping, I probably helped, I'm thinking, and it's got to be over 8-9 people go into business in my area. I was not worried about that. My concern is making sure they understood what it was to be in that business, how much they should be charging. Otherwise, they'll be out of business in 6 months, because reality, like today, my truck is in the shop and it's going to be a big bill. It's tapping. Tap, 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 tap. Well, I'm not a mechanic. I got to go in, have somebody pull all that off, and make that gap in the heads go away. That is reality. Your tires wear out, your brakes wear out, things happen.
Rainy day fund, I call it. Yes, you need a rainy day fund.
Yeah. And when you first start, you don't have those assets like you do. You don't have a truck that will take $2,100 to $3,000 worth of tires when it needs to be.
I wish some of these guys on YouTube in particular would start talking about real world stuff and not talk about, oh yeah, you made $30K that month. Okay, well, big deal. That's gross. Really not that much, but okay. But we can all make money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what they need to start saying is, what's your actual cost, gross and net, because come on, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
the bigger I get,
all these expenses that actually come up in this business. And as far as growing, being able to go purchase these new trucks and have all this nice equipment and stuff like that, and not have to finance it and all that stuff. There's a lot of people that are more on the balling type aspect, and they make all this money and they can go do this and that and blah, blah, blah. But I just would like to see people tell the truth and how to set back money, because if my transmission goes out, I have other payroll. I have payroll to make. I have another truck that can keep going, but everyone has to start somewhere and build to that point. But some people never do. They never learn. They just wing it on one truck. They think they're the best there is.
That's right.
And then next thing you know, their transmission blows, their motor blows, whatever, and they're dead in the water. And customers, that's not professional. Customers don't want to hear that.
They don't want your truck leaking in their driveway. They don't want it.
No, they don't want none of that. And they don't want to hear that you can't come help them, because especially with real estate clients, a lot of the times when they need you is last minute closing situations. They need this done now. You're always reliable. What do you mean you're not reliable this time? Like, why? What do you mean you're going to be late because of blah, blah, blah? You know, you got to have these backup plans. And
you're calling and saying, what do you mean there's no work for me? Because that's how it works. It's all relationships. You know,
you got to be.
That's right.
Yep.
So what was your plan right off the bat? Because obviously you started with a bootstrap type of idea, it sounds like, kind of like what Bill Schomp said in his last thing. He bootstrapped his whole thing. But so what are, obviously you do have a rainy day savings, et cetera. So what was your plan from the very beginning? Are you putting back a certain percent, or are you just saying, oh, I just made this, I'm putting chunks back? So how did you?
No, like I said, when I started doing it, if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I would just sit at home. Honestly, my wife doesn't really, she would rather me just be home, but she likes that I am able to provide all these additional things. You know, for instance, my kids love to ride dirt bikes every weekend. It's very expensive. I have to work on dirt bikes and pay for expensive parts all the time and all that. So, and I'm sure other people, other husbands like me, have a certain thing they have to do with their kids and family. You know, that's expensive hobbies, you know?
Yep.
And, but we're able to do things like that, no problem. You know what I mean? And that's what I wanted, is that second stream of income, but I knew that I had to protect that second stream of income. So I did make sure that I got secondary vehicles, trailers, trucks, and just went from there. I'm able to have the truck of my dreams. I would have had to wait till I was 56 years old in my mind before knowing about junk removal to have the truck, to have the type of truck that I have. And you know, and some people, like, it's rewarding when people say, hey, that's a really nice truck and stuff, you know what? Yeah. And then some people are upset when I go and wrap it to use it for work, but it's not really a work truck, but I use it to pull my roll-off trailer. So it's still my personal vehicle, you know?
That's right. That's right. And that's the beautiful thing about being in business for yourself. You got perks that the average person don't have. You know, your phone, your internet, all that kind of stuff. Those are perks that are what we call write-offs. So we don't get taxed on those kind of things. Yeah. But at the same time, it is your personal, but you're also going to be running it for, hey, look at me, because this is what I do. And that's just smart business, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So this business has just allowed me, you know, a lot of people are doing this, it's their primary income for their family of four. My case is a little different. It's just that, and that's what I talked to about Joseph when I started. This is just a second avenue of income, but I know I want to protect it because this is long term. This is something that I can hand down to my kids if they choose to serve. I think I have one of them that seems like he will, but the other one not so much. But if I could pass this on, and I could pass on, you know, this wealth to my kids and make this generational, I'm all for that. It's just a second stream of income to make my family more comfortable. I didn't do it because I had to, I don't know, take every job I possibly could to feed my family. I'm sure you talked with Joseph about it. Our rates are not the cheapest in town.
That's what he says.
And sometimes they're the most expensive. Sometimes they're, you know, just under the most expensive. But we don't take on every client. You know, not every client is for us. We don't hound people about jobs. We give them our rate of what we think is a fair rate for the job. And we move on. If they choose to schedule with us, so be it. We're going to treat them like gold. But if they don't, and they decide to go elsewhere and get different quotes and they go off the lowest rate, it's just not our customer. You know what I mean?
No, he does a lot of good information. Today he put out a video that was, and I wish everybody would watch it. So go to Vets Hall Junk at YouTube. And what he's talking about today is very important. And that's shut up after you give them the price. You know, you have your price. And don't start explaining yourself. Don't. I think he uses the word justify. Yeah. Don't justify your price. Your prices are your prices, and just let it sit. I've done that twice today, And because sometimes I'm, I got to get, I'm an ex talk show host, right? So I have the gift of gab. So, but I did that twice and landed both jobs. Even with the truck and the thing, I was able to schedule ahead and all that kind of stuff. And they're not big jobs, but they're not going to be cheap jobs. They're just, this is my price, and drop it. There's about a second of quiet. Okay, well, I need it done. I'm not gouging. I'm just making sure I make a living, number one, and a terrible word that most people on the outside of having a business don't understand, and that is profit. You have to have profit.
Gary, I've had issues like this, and I've had over the years, I've had just different competitors and stuff, try to underbid or whatever the case may be, and I'll just tell you, like, different people going into this business, don't worry so much as what your local competitors charge. Their profit margins and their overheads and stuff like that can be different than yours, and your time and value that you feel you provide could be worth more than they think. So let's say I've heard of people saying they'll come pick up a piece of junk for $50. And for me, that doesn't, I start thinking about, all right, all the different things you think about, traveling and labor and all that stuff, we'd be going in the negative. So let's just say we said, what, our price is $125 to pick up this refrigerator or something like that.
Right.
Not necessarily that we don't want the job, but we're saying if we're going to go do this job, it's got to be profitable. As you said, it's got to be. There has to be, all the expenses have to be paid for. And then there's, even after all the taxes and all the stuff that goes out, there's still profit for the business itself. And someone may say, oh, I'm not paying $125 to get my refrigerator removed. I can put it on the corner and have a scrapper or whatever come and get it for, I don't know, they'll scrap it for $10. I don't know. Yes, but we're just not that type. You know what I mean? And right. I see a lot of people that they say they're hustling and they'll go do this $10, they'll get this $10 scrap metal money, or there's this $30 refrigerator job or something. But, some people don't do the business insurance type stuff. They don't do they don't legitimize. They're not trying to build a brand. They're just trying to make additional income. And I understand, but it's just, I'm more longevity, and just building the brand up over time to get, the law of attraction. I don't know if I've read that. Do you provide, I like to go, I apply that to things in my life. The law of attraction, if you charge higher, you're going to find those customers that are willing to pay those rates.
Right.
And those customers will actually leave you an additional tip on top of that. And they'll call you again and again, and they'll refer you to everybody they know. But cheap people and cheap customers refer you to other cheap customers. And it's this never ending cycle of you're always having to explain your pricing and why you charge what you charge, and can you give a discount and all this stuff. Whereas
you can show up as Vets Haul Junk in a complete wrapped professional. The guys come out, they're not stinky. They don't look like they're, just got grabbed off the street. They're going to come into your home and remove stuff. That means you've allowed them into your home looking at all your stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or you can hire somebody like Fred Stanford.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
What do you want? Well, I don't want to be that. And I really don't want the customers that only want that.
That will say, oh, so Vets Haul Junk is trying to say that they only cater to premium clientele, that, millionaires and blah, blah, blah. And that's not the case either. We cater to those who value our time and our service, and the value that we provide. You know what I mean? Some people are just so thrilled. They really aren't concerned about price. Yeah. If you get a call, the first thing out of their mouth is, what do you charge? It almost kind of puts off a negative vibe from the get-go of the conversation, that their only interest is your rate.
Right.
And I don't know. That's just something I've never done, is try to compete with another local company and stuff like that. I know what I need to charge to be profitable and what makes sense for me.
Yep.
And it attracts those type of customers. You're more and more in those neighborhoods. And I'm not saying that, better than anybody.
No, because what I
we
mean
go to
by
trailer parks and mansions on the lake
sure,
in the
and what
same
I mean
day.
by a class of people
Mhm.
is I've had people that are absolutely millionaires, and
Right.
they're looking for Fred Sanford. That's what they're
Yeah,
looking for.
you're
God
right.
bless them and let them go. Because if you're sitting there worried about what they're doing, whatever they're doing works out great for them.
Right.
But what you need is what you're doing is working out great for you. And that's the reality. And if it's not a mix, I think it was Joseph, might have been Bill. I think it might have been Bill Shaw. He was saying, not all these customers are yours. They're
That's
not
true.
going to be yours. You're only, I mean, in my area, there's probably 15 junk companies, and there's enough room for everyone.
Joseph tells me this. He's told me this on multiple occasions. He's probably told you as well. The customers, one way to look at it, and we love all of our customers, the ones that we actually go through with and provide service to. Now, all of them are our customers, and we're aware of that from the first interaction. And the thing about it is, customers are. Joseph says it along the lines of they're like the city buses. If one comes along, it doesn't like your rate or whatever, just keep it moving, because about 15, 20 minutes later or so, another bus is going to come by. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And they're going to be so ecstatic that you took their phone call and you had attention to detail, and you made the service easy, and they sent their pictures, and you give them your estimate, or you schedule an on-site appointment, just depending on what it is. And they just love the fact that customer service, you took the phone call, they're speaking with the owner, and you're ready to go. You can be there the next day or the date that they prefer you be there or whatever, and they just love that. And they just eat that up, and they tell everybody in their neighborhood, and Google reviews, and, different neighborhood groups and stuff. Next thing you know, the next door neighbor is calling you, hey, you provided this awesome service to my neighbor. I have some junk. To me. and it just goes on and on and on. And next thing you know, you don't even need, somebody will mention their address, and you'll say, oh, I know exactly where you are. You live across the street from so-and-so, and my area is kind of tight like that. So word of mouth spreads really quick. And that's the best form of advertisement, in my opinion.
That's the one thing I like about the South. People are still very connected.
Right. And once they find a provider of a service, they look past cost. Once they find a roofer or a hauler or a plumber or whoever, that's their guy forever. You know what I mean? And they'll tell everybody they know about you. And you'll have more work than you can handle.
Yeah. So what you did just now, and I want people to understand, because it really made me smile. So a plumber, let me call my plumber. A roofer, that's my roofer. That's my contractor.
Right.
That's my hauler.
Yep.
We are in that type of business.
Right.
This is us. We're not Sanford and Sons. We are actually a legit type of business that demands. It's hard work at times, unbelievable. Sometimes it's easier than others, but at times it's really difficult. But we're professionals, man. And you want to run like that because you want that professional fee. Simple as that.
What other questions do you have of me, Gary? What else?
Only the big one is where are you going from here? Okay, so have you kept your trailers? So are you multifaceted now?
Oh yeah, so I have the first trailer I started with, I sold to a local fire department. They collect aluminum cans and stuff. They use the trailer for that. So I see it all the time. So that's rewarding that I get to see that the trailer I started with is still serving the community,
Yeah.
And they take the proceeds of the cans to help burn victims and stuff like that. So awesome. I like that. And then I bought a smaller dump trailer, and I sold it off to a guy to help him start his lawn care service. He uses it to deliver like pine needles and mulch and stuff like that, materials for his clients and stuff.
So you do pine straw back there?
Do what?
You do pine straw back there?
Pine straw and mulch, yeah. But he uses that little trailer for his landscape business. to be able to deliver materials and stuff. So I like being able to use things that I have to help other people grow their businesses and stuff too, but pass it on. And then I got another dump trailer. It's 10 feet, 7 feet by 10 feet. Reason being, we have a transfer station that won't allow trailers larger than 10 feet.
We have one ourselves.
Yep. So we got a 10-foot dump trailer. We use it in this particular town, Mooresville, to where we can still dump at the transfer station. So that helps with productivity and stuff like that. We can knock out a lot of jobs because it's close. The transfer station is close to, there's a lot of homes in that area, a lot of service, probably 90% of our businesses in that area. So we're able to get stuff loaded and unloaded really quick. That's the only reason to have a small dump trailer. And then I got the roll-off dump trailer because I saw that there was a need. For one, my employees love it, loading construction materials like sheds and hot tubs, even pianos. It's great for pianos because you can just, it's only about 8 inches off the ground, the deck from the ground. So it's really easy to load it and then just pull it up onto the trailer when you're done. And they can load from all sides and all that. Yeah. The roll-off, I highly recommend that to anybody, whether you do dumpster rental or junk haul, and your employees will appreciate you, not having to, those dump trailers are tall. A lot of them are built really tall.
Yes.
And it's hard to get refrigerators and couches and pianos and and loading heavy.
Like Matt and Joe, they have the lift gate in the back, but
that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have put themselves in a really cool niche. They fill a niche back there that is just really, it works for them.
Yeah, I recommend a truck like that or the roll-off trucks that I have because you can use them as a dump truck and a roll-off container. I do make a little bit of additional income off of that, so that's kind of another bonus. I have 3 roll-off containers. Usually once or twice a week, I'll rent one out.
You have employees?
Yeah, I have employees that I keep on payroll, other veterans.
Are they all year, or are they part-time, full-time?
I have one full-time, one part-time. My full-time guy is on a salary basis. I see him every single day. Comes in anywhere from 6 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day. Sometimes in the spring and summer, it can be more closer to 10 hours a day. It just depends. But
So with that, one of the counting of your costs, because one of the reasons you have to charge what you have to charge.
Right, exactly. Yep. I have mouths to feed.
There's other fees that start working in when you have employees, not just salary, but hey, workman's comp, all this stuff comes into play.
It does add up. It adds up.
It does.
CPA fees, payroll fees, insurances, taxes. You have to put back money. You have to pay your portion of your employees' income taxes as well. A lot of people don't realize that.
4%, I think it is. Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly. I have a CPA and a bookkeeper that takes care of all that stuff.
I just know that. I'm just talking SSI on top of that. There's Social Security. You pay the lion's share, not much more. But
the employee
does. Absolutely.
Yes, the employee pays a portion, but the business owner also pays a portion. Example: if you pay your employee, let's say $15 an hour, it's costing your business probably somewhere in the $20 to $25 an hour after you add in all your fees that are involved in paying that employee, as far as payroll and all the bookkeeping. And people need to know that type of stuff,
You absolutely do. And so a lot of people don't realize the cost. And this is why another reason I do this is so people understand there is a breaking in time. Things that you can get away with, but the more you're out there, the less you can get away with. The more types of jobs you get into, the more insurance you have to prove that you have. You're not just showing.
The more you want to scale your business or your brand, your overhead is going to increase. Yes. There's not really a way around that. Every time you add on a new truck and all that type of stuff, you just have to compensate for that. And my rates will be going up again. I highly suggest that people raise their rates every year, especially with this the inflation that's going on right now.
It's insane.
Trucks are way more expensive. Maintenance on your trucks is more expensive. Repair shops and stuff are charging more because their employees require more money. Their insurances are more. Just all overhead is going up. So people need to realize that and get away from charging these low rates, because it's going to hit them hard when it does hit them, when they do have to grow and they get hit with the real price of these dump trailers and these nice trucks that such as Joseph has. I think you're going to be very surprised here in about a month when you see what we have. But if you like Joseph's truck, then I think you'll be really happy.
So let me ask you, gas or diesel?
Diesel.
You're a diesel man.
I have, well, I won't say what diesel it is, but it's a diesel engine.
Yep. Yeah. And, so that because I believe Joseph's is gas, right?
Yeah, he gets to get. Well, Joseph doesn't do a whole lot of, and that's another thing. Market research in his area, there's not a whole lot of construction building type going on right now, so he doesn't need he doesn't do a whole lot of construction debris type jobs as we do. It makes more sense in my area, like for the roll-offs and stuff like that, because we do deal with some heavier stuff. He gets more of he's in a military area, and there's a lot of soldiers PCSing in and out from different duty stations, leaving and going. So it's a lot of house clean out type stuff, furniture, lighter weight stuff. Now his truck can handle pretty much anything. It's huge, but for so long he ran with utility trailers only, just because in his area it's all really just furniture, TVs, couches, stuff like that. You don't need big equipment for that type of stuff.
Yeah, because it's done all the build out and what's building from where he's at, because it's so old of a community, and it's military heaven there, right? And so it's just building out this way, and eventually you can only go so many miles without having a substation, or another Vets Haul Junk company servicing a new area that's being built out today, because everything out in the East Coast, especially up north there, everything is just massive. It's going, towns are running into each other, and at that point, where do you build? So again, it comes back down to knowing your community and the needs of it, and what are the needs. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, 5 years from now, honestly, you've talked with Joseph about the brand we're building, which is not Vets Haul Junk. We're going to keep our locations. My intent is to keep this location, continue to build it, continue my clientele, keep building with them, and just getting more and more established. I would love to have 2 of these new vehicles that I'm going to have on the road and 2 crews. Even if I could have 3, that'd be amazing. But in 5 years, I think I can have 2 full-time crews, and two nice, junk vehicles, and then be 100% independent. What do you call it? Vets Haul Junk run itself. My location runs itself completely.
Yep.
I have my own team of everybody who schedules, does the jobs, all that type stuff, to where I can move on with our partnership of the national franchise that we're developing.
Yeah,
I would like to be completely into that, into the corporate levels of that in 5 years, and just have Vets Haul Junk be an additional stream of income, and it runs itself autonomous. That's what I would like to see in 5 years.
Having vets work it, they understand structure, they understand orders, they understand taking care of the equipment. So if you give them the daily, I want the oil change, the air pressure change, I want to make sure there's no leak drips, they're already conditioned for that, aren't they?
Right. Yeah. And we believe in not hiring just anybody if we don't have to. I mean, it would be nice to have all veterans at all times. I haven't always had just veterans. I've had friends of veterans that have worked for me,
sure,
or just someone they knew. As long as they can carry on the military characteristics as far as neat appearance, uniform, on time, obviously not doing drugs and stuff like that, and
that's a whole another ball game.
Right. It's right. I mean, there's a whole other wormhole to go down, but you know what I mean? Like, as far as just they see the vision that you see, and they the same level of detail and professionalism is who we're looking for. We prefer vets over anyone else, also first responders. But for the most part, just anybody that has those characteristics, you know what I mean? Like our customers would not be okay with a slob showing up at their house based on the appearance of our vehicles and ads and websites and reviews and all that. And they would be very upset to see, just anybody show up at their house. They have
is this your
a certain
crib?
level. They have a certain level of
Yeah.
expectation.
Sure
The clientele we deal with.
They wouldn't want a plumber in there like that. Honestly, there's a certain element that if you're what I would call just a normal range human being, there's certain elements that you would not want into.
They do hold us to a higher caliber, a higher standard.
That's right.
Because we are vets, and it's in our name. I mean, most of the calls we get, honestly, the branding is so great. It sells itself. It makes the phone ring easily. That's not the problem. Now, selling it, you got to have those type of employees that can, walk the walk, talk the talk, and walk the walk.
That's right.
And actually close the deal is a whole nother thing. But the vets thing really helps. My community is really patriotic and believes in supporting vets over anybody else. So that's why they call. They say, I know there's other people out there, and I know there's cheaper guys and all this, but you guys are vets, so I want to give you the first opportunity to come out and give us this bid or whatever the case may be, and go from there. We don't always get the job, but we appreciate them, considering us first.
That's right. So, well, I just want to say thank you for coming on here. And
no problem.
I think
Thanks for having me.
I also want to say thank you for your service. I know a lot of people just give that lip service, but I think every one of my high school friends, except for me, went into one branch or the other. And I know what they've had to pay throughout their lives. And it's not a cheap endeavor, the things that you give up when you serve your country like you have. So I sincerely mean, thank you for your service.
I appreciate your support, Gary.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
And we have to do this again, man.
Yeah, anytime.